we have placed our first floor finished floors as well as our subfloor. And now we want to think about how we're going to start to put in our structure. So if you look over here, we don't have a section for structure. So I want to make a new section over here. We go to the View tab, we go over to Plan Views, and we go to Structural Plan. And now I want to have a first and a second floor structural plan. So now I have my first floor structural plan here. Change the resolution to fine. And now if we go back to our 3D, I want to put my rim joists. We put our plywood subfloor in, and now I want to put our rim joists, which the rim joist is this member right here, which is a 2x12. It goes below the plywood subfloor. It's flush, the top of the rim joist is flush with the bottom of our plywood subfloor, and it sits right up against our plywood sheathing. So you can see that. Here's our rim joist and our floor, subfloor, and our finished floor. And this is what we're trying to accomplish now, is to put that rim joist there. There's a really simple way to do that. So we'll come back over here, and I'm going to isolate my three-dimensional view, the components in there, so that we only see our subfloor, our plywood subfloor, and our 2x12 framing. So the trick to that is really to go over to structure, go over to beam. We want to make sure that we select our 2x12. If we don't have one selected, then we would simply go insert, load a family, and we would go to our structural framing. So we'll go over to our structural framing. Let's see, it should be right here. We go structural framing. I'm looking for it. Here we go, structural framing. And then we have our different materials. And we pick our dimensional lumber and say, okay, and then pick 2x12s. And at the same time, we might as well pick our 2x10s, 2x8s, and just load those into the project. So I'm going to cancel that out because I already have those loaded in. But now then you would have them as an option to pick from. So I'm going to put one of those 2x12s in here right now. And you'll see the reason why in a moment. Then we'll go to our three-dimensional view. And I want to, I'll simply hide that element so that I can see my subfloor, and pick the subfloor, hold the control key down, and pick this structural element, our framing. And that's the reason that I put it in the floor plan, was simply so that I could isolate those categories. So isolate those categories. And now all I have is my framing member and my floor, my floors. This is my tile, so I can hide that element. It's not necessary, but remember that these are dropped down a little bit lower. So I might have to come back and fix those two little bits there, because they'll have to be dropped down as well. Now, what I want to do is put in a beam. My dimensional lumber is 2x12, and I want to pay attention to the, if I click, I'm going to click on a line, but I want it to be the line is represented that's picked, I still want my structural member to be 3/4 of an inch off of that line. And the reason is that if I try to put that product in right now, that structural, it's going to put it at a center line of the structural framing, and I want the member to be flush with the outside face of the plywood. And then if we took a look at it, we'd see that in this case, it picked the grade as my reference level. And so I need to be 1 foot 11 1/4 above the grade. And that might start to make a little more sense when I actually tell Revit in 3D that I want to put this member in, and I pick these edges right here. And Revit is very kind in putting in my rim joist very quickly, all the way around I could spin it around to select it, but it works this way too. So now let's spin it around and take a look at it. See, I put my rim joist in, or I missed a couple spots, or I missed this spot, so I'll click right there. And now I've got my rim joist pretty much all the way around. Remember, I dropped the subfloor over here, so I'm going to have to drop this guy down as well. So that's what I wanted to be put in. Didn't need to see this. We can hide this element as well. And oh, look at this. I missed a few spots here. So back to the beam. And my constraints stay the way that they were before. And it puts my rim joist in quite nicely. Okay, you can see it's around there. It looks pretty good. So that's not a bad start. I'm not sure why this happened here, but let's see if we can use the modify and trim extend and click on these two objects and see trim extend and pick this guy and this guy. Yep, and it cleaned it up for itself. Now, I noticed that there was something here, which I'm not sure, oh, I think I put that in there by mistake. Okay, so I also want to frame around my stairwell opening. So I will come in there again, structure, beam, pick a line, and I'll pick these 4 lines right here. And then let's spin that around and take a look. And so very quickly, using the pick line tool, making sure that we set our constraints correctly, that we can put our rim joists all the way around the house very easily. So one of the reasons we want to do that is wherever we cut a section now, we're going to be able to see the rim joist. So that works quite nicely. I don't need this guy anymore, so I'll delete him. I only put that in there at the beginning so that when I went to my 3D view and I wanted to isolate 2 things, the floor, the subfloor, and I wanted to isolate the rim joist. So I know these guys need to be another 3/4 of an inch below because I have a dropped floor there. So I can select these 3. I'm holding the control key down. And if we go over and take a look at the properties now, the Z offset will have to be 3/4 of an inch less than what that is right now. So if I made that 10 and 5, well, let's see, I want to take off 1/4 of an inch and then another 1/2 inch. So that's going to be 10.5 inches. I think that will do it if my math is correct. All right, let's see. That should drop it down to where I want it to be. The plywood subfloor is dropped, but here, notice that it still maintains the same spot. This guy should be dropped down. Doesn't look like it is. I'm very confused why that isn't the case. All right, so let's drop it. So we're going to just say -3/4. it should be 3/4 of an inch down, and for some reason, it's not. Okay, so what I'm seeing is I have two pieces of plywood here. I have it at the correct level. You can see it down here. But then the main floor, for some reason, uh, hasn't been trimmed yet. So I'll have to go back and do that. Okay, so now we can reset our temporary here, get everything back that we had before, and that's fine. I'll go back to the first floor plan, and I'll look at the, I'm going to use this. I'm going to hide that element, and I'm going to click on this floor and edit the boundary. And that boundary should come, we'll bring it over to here, and then up to here. And this may change as I start to work on, I don't think I want this one. I'll delete that. No, I guess that's okay. For now, I'm going to have to go back and once I, as I mentioned in a previous tutorial, once I am familiar with the framing, because I don't have my framing in yet, so I'm not exactly sure exactly where this floor is going to be dropped and where it isn't. So, okay, so now I've got that selected. I'm going to say isolate category. And this guy, and this guy needs to go, and somehow I have to figure this out again. So we'll reset the temporary and just take a look. Yeah, and I'll just let's make some sense of this again by isolating the category. And okay, reset temporary hide. So I need to get from this last piece has to go in. We'll put it in right here temporarily. It will absolutely change, but as I said, the exact location of the drop of the floor is going to have a bearing or going to be determined when I put the floor framing into exactly where I'm going to do that. But it's pretty close right now. So we'll say okay to that, and then let's go back to this 3D view. Maybe I shouldn't have reset that. So I'll hide this guy. And then I'll start out by isolating that category. And we'll take a look, and we can see now that this guy is, see this floor is dropped down now. I'm still seeing my finished floor there, so I'll hide that element. And now you can see that the two floors are dropped by 3/4 of an inch. This is 3/4 of an inch higher than that is. And like I said, I'm not really 100% sure where this line is going to be exactly. I'm comfortable with it out here, but I'm not sure in here where it's going to be exactly. So that's putting in the bond and addressing this issue. Now, if you don't have any tile in your house or whatever material you're going to use for the flooring, you might not have to, any material that you use for your flooring that needs a concrete sub structure, so we call it a mud base. If you don't have that as an issue, then you won't have to drop the floor.